Welcome to another Bag of Tricks tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to install the Soundpads, the Bag of Tricks and the Soundpads, together with the special effects of the Weather Girl app that Reverend Malik and a little bit me have developed. First I'll show you the installation of the lot. So we start with a clean map tool interface, as you're familiar with. The installation is fairly simple. I already pulled some things together which you can download. It's basically the Bag of Tricks token, it's the Event Pads token, it's the Weather token, it's an image of a sound. It's really an image, it's not a token. And we have the table which we need to import. So we'll do that now. Import table. We save it. Save campaign as tutorial. Save. And we load it. File. Open. Ooh, tutorial campaign. Open. Okay. Well, now we have the usual bot things. We're going to run through them. You can see the other video tutorials to know how that all works. We have now a basic installation of the Bag of Tricks and the Weather Girl interface. What I wanted to show was the Soundpads. Okay, we need this one not so much. The only thing that I would like is a campaign panel with a Bag of Trick macro. And then we can remove this one and this one. Remove this one here. So, okay. So let's set this up. First of all, we need to rename the image to Soundpad. And you have to write it like this, and this will be Soundpad test. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Another thing we can do, if you don't want to show to other players, is visible to owners only, and make sure that there are no owners. I'm not going to turn off visible to players because I want to show something else later on, which won't work if you turn this one off. So leave everything, turn everything on, and then it's not visible to players anymore. Okay. I select the button and I click on the Setup Soundpad. Now you get a hefty, long menu, and I'll go through the lot. First of all, we need a web address. Well, obviously I already took care of that as well. There is SoundShare. You can ask for us to join it, where some sounds you can upload in Discord. I'm going to pick this sound, which is a low rumbling sound. We use a link, copy link. That's it, and we're going to paste the link in here. Okay. Now, the important part: set the volume of the sound at the furthest distance. So when it's furthest away, we don't want to hear it at all, or maybe hear it a little bit, and then so we could say 0.1. It's a value between 0 and 0 and 1. Let's make it 0.1. So the furthest distance at which the sound is heard. Well, for example, 30. Let's take 40 yards, or 40 units. The volume at the closest distance, so when you're next to it, put that on 1, distance at which the sound is at max volume. How close do you have to be before you hear it max? Let's say a distance of 5, then it's at max. Sound area, I'm going to skip for this, but basically if you create an area in the drawing, you can give it a name, and you can enter that name here, and then the sound will only work when the token is in the neighborhood and on that drawing layer. This one is more interesting, the sound label. I'm going to explain that one later as well. For effects, we have all kinds of effects. Let's, for the fun of it, work with fog. This label we get into later as well. The effect range. We can have a foggy screen as soon as this map loads, or we can have a foggy screen as soon as you get close enough. Let's say that you need to be, I don't know, 30 units away. Now at the furthest distance, this is the opacity. Let's say that it's 0.13, and at the closest distance it's 1. And when is the effect at maximum? Well, it's 2 units. Okay. So let's see how that works. First of all, we need to hit the initialize pads. He has found exactly one pad. You can click on it and then it centers on that token. Next, we're going to introduce a token. Let me grab some tokens. Let's go for the hero here. Now, as you can see, I need to turn on the sound. As you can see, nothing really happens, which is not so strange because there are 2 circumstances that have to be met. First, it has to be a PC. Second, it has to be owned. This is the server, so I'm going to give the server ownership, and this is not required, but makes it a bit cleaner. So now one thing I forgot, I like to have units in 1. So 50 actually makes sense. Let's see, this is 25. Okay, I'm very close. So move a little bit further away. That I'm outside of the range of this thing, which was 40 or 30. So now let's move closer and let's see if something happens. Here you can hear the sound, which becomes less clear and clearer. Here you see the effect of the fog kicking in as I get closer. Now the cool thing is that it works the other way around as well. That took me a bit fiddling, and with this you can do something interesting, which I will show you in a minute. So this is the basic. I'll get back to you right away. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I've changed the layout a bit. This screen is now a server. This one, oh, that doesn't work. This screen is a logged in player. The player is called Willow with a token which is also called Willow. And this, our hero of today, is the player called Wolf42 with a token Wolf42. As you can see, the token Wolf42 is owned only by Wolf42, and the token Willow is owned only by the player Willow. So what we have now, because I've changed the visual effect from a fog to a gradient overlay, and now I will show you the effect. First of all, if I move the token on the server, the effect will take place, as you can hear and see. As you can see, because it's Willow, the effect only takes place. Effect. This recording for 42. If he moves towards the soundpad, he gets the effect, and when he doesn't, the other way around, if now, because as you can see, the ghoul and the soundpad are invisible. If I now move the soundpad and I've grouped them, well, let me explain that one first. Grouping is a utility. You select tokens you want to group, you set group move, you give them a name, for example test, you click OK, now they're grouped. Which means that if I move the soundpad, then the ghoul moves along with it. And as you can hear, it has effect. And of course the idea with this is if you make this one visible to players, then the players see the ghoul nearing and sound. Now note that I drag the sound token. The other way around doesn't work because it's an on token move effect, and it only triggers the token that is moved. So I need to move the soundpad, but as you can see, the ghoul moves along with it. One of the challenges was to get a gradient effect and both. Now what makes it additionally cool is if we set up the soundpad even further, and now we're going to set up a token specific sound. That means I need to create a sound label on the token. I will do it in a minute, and I have to give this a term. Let's call this one psychic, which basically means that that all the psychics can hear this, and the same for the SFX label, also psychic. Okay, so first we're going to create a sound label. That's campaign properties, basic. We just add sound label and SFX label. These two should work. Update. Okay. Now the psychic, or at least Willow, is going to. Oh, that's not Willow. We're going to make Willow the psychic of the two. And we go to the properties. So we give her the labels psychic, and we don't give them to Wolf42. Now what will happen is that if I move Willow, if I ever move Wolf42, nothing happens in both cases. If I move the monster, if the effect takes place with Willow, you hear it at Willow. But the Wolf42 doesn't see it. Now if I also make it completely invisible, so we have some invisible danger getting closer, then the only hint is given the player. He doesn't know either. As you can see, she's the only one hearing the sound who sees full setup and new workings of the Soundpads. Thank you for watching.